On this Friday night, the cries of migrant kids separated from their parents continue to echo across the U.S. political landscape. It's revealed a country seemingly at war with itself. We'll look at how the president is reframing the debate, and we'll drill down into why it's been so monumentally difficult to bring families back together. Plus, as new U.S. tariffs sink in, we take you inside the industry that's been feeling the pain for months. And with the World Cup in full swing, time for an off-the-pitch trend. The headers some soccer fans are taking in honor of their heroes. The beautiful game, indeed. This is The National. Issuing a presidential order is one thing, but as the Trump administration is learning, actually carrying it out is quite another. In fact, it's been a logistical and political nightmare, trying to keep migrant families together while enforcing zero tolerance for illegal border crossers. And as Lindsay Duncombe shows us, a resolution is a long way off.
This 7-year-old boy from Guatemala hasn't seen his mother for a month. It takes a moment before the weeping begins. He's sad, says his mother, but we are going to be together now. The White House says 500 children have reportedly been reunited with their families since May, finding the rest a bureaucratic nightmare. At the border, more confusion. There are reports some charges against parents have been dropped to prevent splitting up families, but officials insist zero tolerance remains in place. The military is preparing to house as many as 20,000 people on 3 bases. It's unclear if those shelters would be for families detained together. And the outrage grows. Protesters crowded outside the Homeland Security Secretary's home this morning, trying to wake her up with recorded cries of migrant children. This congressman played those same recordings on the floor of the House today until he was stopped for breaching decorum.
The gentleman will suspend.
Rather than soothe tensions, the president provokes them.
You hear the other side, you never hear this side.
Inviting families of people killed by illegal immigrants to the White House, playing one horror off another.
My separation is permanent. Sarah's never coming home. I never get to take a selfie with her again.
The families were rally regulars in 2016. Fear-mongering helped get Trump elected, and he's not abandoning it now. Never mind studies that show illegal immigrants are convicted of crimes far less frequently than U.S. citizens. In fact, Trump is now telling Republicans in Congress to stop wasting their time on immigration legislation until after the midterms, when he anticipates a red wave of newly elected Republicans. Chaos and division are not just characteristics of Trump's presidency. They also appear to be his election strategy for November and beyond. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Washington.
Now, as Lindsay mentioned, today was a day of celebration for at least one mother and child. But as you also heard, of the 2,300 children taken, less than a quarter are back with the parents. That leaves well over 1,500 kids still in limbo. And with 2 government agencies involved, getting those children reconnected with their families is proving difficult. Now, to get a little deeper into this, I'm joined by Jonathan Ryan. He's the executive director of a Texas-based organization called Raíces, a nonprofit legal service in Texas that works to reunite families. And Jonathan, I'm trying to understand why this is so difficult. And I mean, from the moment a parent is separated from their child, what information are they given to help them reconnect with them afterwards?
Oftentimes, the families, the adults, are merely provided with a small pamphlet that they can fill out to try to find information about the whereabouts of their children. But you must understand, many of these parents, they don't even speak Spanish. They come from indigenous parts of Central America. So Spanish or English is outside of their reach. They receive very little information and don't have the means, really, to go about locating their children, since they're as well detained.
But in terms of picking up the slack, I mean, the organizations that are involved, I mean, governments are used to coordinating complex things. They do it all the time. The fact that they're not talking to one another, is it that they can't, that they won't? I mean, what is it?
This is a structure that has been built up over the past 15 years to provide support that is needed by unaccompanied refugee children who seek asylum in the United States. But what we've seen now is that it's essentially been weaponized as a means to deter these people who need asylum in the United States from undertaking that journey or from trying to come to our border to request asylum. So unfortunately, I think it is the latter, that there is actually a disinterest in the current administration from people being able to find each other and successfully navigate this complex terrain.
And so from your point of view, then, how do you overcome that? I mean, what are you actually able to do to get a parent back with their child?
We, as the advocates and attorneys who work in these detention centers, receive a lot of phone calls from panicked family members, both in Central America and here in the United States. So we take as much information that we can about their family members' names and dates of birth and countries of origin, and we basically go on a hunt. We talk to consulates to try to see if they have information. We talk to partner agencies around the country who also go to these detention centers to see if they know anything about these people. But let me be clear, the United States government is not in the business of coordinating and reunifying these families. It's quite to the contrary. That's left to us who are advocates and who are passionate about their rights to put together ourselves.
Jonathan Ryan, a lot of work ahead. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So clearly, there are those who doubt Donald Trump's sincerity in ending family separation, and there are protesters, too, who feel much more should be done. Many of them have firsthand knowledge of how harrowing the cross-border journey can be. And as Kim Brunhuber tells us, they're calling for greater compassion for the children caught in the middle.
Stop separating families! Stop separating families!
Perhaps no one has a better reason for being here than Yamilex Rustrian.
Thank you so much for coming out, guys.
At the age of 7, her father was killed by gang members in Guatemala. Relatives sent her and her younger sister on the dangerous trek across the U.S. border to join their mom. 16 years later, she's still haunted by the sounds of the pregnant woman who couldn't keep up, who was left behind.
All you can hear was the cries while the rest of us got in a car. You know, she wanted to give her child a better life, and those things that are wake me up at night, and I remember it, and I think, I really hope she made it. Donald Trump has got to go.
Rustrian made it across. Now she wants to help other migrant children separated from their parents by circumstances or by the authorities.
They're going to remember this for the rest of their lives. So that's why we are here. That's why I am here. Stop separating families.
The fact that Donald Trump halted the separation of migrant families at the border doesn't mean the protests will end. Guillermo Torres, an executive with a multi-faith activist group, wants to know what will happen to the migrant children still separated from their parents since the zero-tolerance policy was put into place.
How do those parents or those family members claim those children back? How do they get reunited if they have been removed from this country? That is something that's so immoral, so cruel, and you can just imagine the frustration of those parents, and you can imagine the emotional scar that we have inflicted on those children.
23-year-old Jose Montes crossed from Mexico without his parents at the age of 5 and was caught at the border. He only spent one night in a detention center and shudders to think that the government would have locked thousands of children away for months on their own.
An event like that when you're 5, it stays with you and it sticks with you for a long time.
Even now
Even now I think about it every day, and it's still like, you know, scary.
It spurred him to join an organization that provides legal aid for children trapped in the immigration system.
It's traumatizing, and it's physical abuse, it's mental abuse, it's emotional abuse.
These protesters say public outrage prompted Trump to reverse course on separating families. So maybe now, with the world suddenly watching and midterm elections coming, the president will be compelled to further soften his stance on immigration.
You better do something because November is coming, and we will hold you accountable.
And make sure no one else is left behind. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.
Now, of all the migrant children affected by the border crisis, perhaps the most well-known is the little Honduran girl who appears with Donald Trump on an upcoming Time magazine cover. After the original photograph spread like wildfire online, it had been widely assumed that she was one of the thousands who were separated from their parents. But it turns out she wasn't. Her father confirmed that she and her mother were kept together all along while in detention. For its part, though, Time magazine says it stands by the cover, calling the girl's picture a visible symbol of the ongoing immigration debate. And with so much focus on crisis in the States right now, it's worth noting that Europe is still struggling to deal with waves of its own asylum seekers. Until recently, Italy had made great efforts to rescue many of them. But since its new populist government came to power, migrant ships are no longer welcome. And there is a growing dilemma over one ship in particular, the small German rescue vessel Lifeline. It's now stuck at sea with more than 200 migrants aboard as Italy and Malta fight over who should take it. Neither wants to. Italy had even threatened to have it impounded if it tried to land. But if Italian Interior Minister Matteo Salvini had his way, it would go to the Netherlands. He claims the Lifeline is registered there, but so far the Dutch haven't stepped in. And all of this comes just days after a similar drama played out involving a French rescue ship, the MS Aquarius. Like the Lifeline, Italy refused to take it, leaving it stuck at sea until finally Spain agreed to let it land on Sunday. EU countries are planning to meet this weekend to review migration policy. Germany and France are promising more help, but other countries like Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic say they plan to skip the talks altogether. Here's a quick look at some of the other stories we're working on tonight on The National. A crystal ball for Canadian steel and aluminum. The softwood lumber industry has been feeling the pain for months. We'll look at the impact of Trump's tariffs there. Plus, no doubt, music festivals can make for noisy neighbors. In tonight's edition of The Fix, you'll hear about a new technology to redirect sound. But first, defending their land. A court ruling in Alberta has some rural landowners feeling like they've won a bigger victory. A rancher faced serious charges after an alleged trespasser was shot on his property. It's the latest case to stir anger over rising rural crime and slow responses by police. And it was decided today in the town of Okotoks. That's just half an hour south of Calgary, but far away from city-style policing. The CBC's Carolyn Dunn was there.
Eddie Maurice walked from the courtroom free. Charges of aggravated assault, pointing a firearm, and careless use of a firearm all withdrawn.
Relief that it's over. It's been quite a tough 4 months to go through this.
One night in February, Maurice confronted several people on his property going through his vehicle. One of the men ended up shot in the arm, and Maurice was charged. Today, prosecutors said new evidence from firearms experts decided the case.
It had a direct impact on the decision today to withdraw the charges.
The defense lawyer says the report confirmed Maurice had fired a warning shot, but it ricocheted and hit the alleged trespasser.
They refused to leave. He fired a warning shot away from them, and apparently one of the intruders got injured.
Maurice's case is over, but the anger it has ignited is not. Protesters have shown up at every one of his court appearances. They say they're not only vulnerable to rising rural crime rates, but also the unacceptably slow response by police.
We have concerns with what people are being told they can and cannot do regarding defense of themselves.
United Conservative Party leader Jason Kenney congratulated Maurice on Twitter. Important for all to remember that Section 34 of the Criminal Code permits reasonable use of force in self-defense, he wrote. Some U.S. states have stand-your-ground laws, but Canadians have no stated right to shoot an intruder on their property. While advocates ramp up a battle to change those laws, the Crown prosecutor warned.
When an individual discharges a firearm and there are people in close proximity, there is a probability of injury or death. And as a result, there's a probability of a prosecution.
With his court case behind him, Eddie Maurice will be taking a break.
Probably take a holiday.
His supporters vow to fight on. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.
A part of the problem in Alberta is a drastic shortage of RCMP officers. Last year, there were 230 unfilled positions.
If we only have 2 members on and we're responding to a call of an armed robbery at a convenience store, and at the same time we have a call of spousal violence, well, we have to start making some tough choices.
How do you even make that call?
You wing it, yeah.
And Alberta's shortage reflects a nationwide problem for the force. One possible solution, looking to other police academies for new recruits and topping up their training to RCMP standards. Okay, we're keeping track of a number of other developing stories tonight, including the news that families on the Korean Peninsula torn apart by war, the news they've all been waiting for. Officials from North and South Korea agreed today to allow families separated during the Korean War to meet this August. This will be the first such reunion in years, since 2015. It's part of an ongoing effort between the two countries to warm relations. It's also something the North and the United States are working on as well. The Pentagon confirmed tonight it has suspended indefinitely a number of upcoming military exercises with South Korea. That was a promise Donald Trump made early last week during his meeting with North Korea's leader in Singapore, and it was a practice the North has long considered provocative.
The failure to hold security forces accountable for such serious human rights violations suggests that the rule of law is virtually absent in Venezuela.
A scathing new report from the United Nations today. It accuses Venezuelan security forces of carrying out a widespread campaign of unjustified killings with no apparent consequences. According to the report, more than 500 people were killed in less than 2 years under the guise of crime-fighting operations. In some cases, officers would go into poor neighborhoods without arrest warrants, kill young men, and then tamper with the scene to make it look like there was a gunfight. The UN is now calling on Venezuela to hold its security forces accountable, but the government today brushed off the report, calling it a grotesque media farce.
This represents the largest single seizure of crime guns in the history of the Toronto Police Service.
And police in Toronto revealing their haul after yesterday's raids targeting a violent street gang. In addition to 78 guns, officers also seized $1.2 million in drugs in the operation, dubbed Project Patton. They also arrested 75 people and say they're expecting to lay a total of more than 1,000 charges. And here's what else is coming up on tonight's National. We've got another special documentary marking National Indigenous History Month. Tonight, a Mohawk filmmaker takes us inside an immersion school that's working to keep their culture and language alive. And can't make it to Russia for the World Cup, but still want to show your love for the beautiful game? Well, you won't want to miss this.
So what do you think? What would be the best World Cup cut for me?
Honestly, I think go super short.
Super short? So shave it all off?
Okay, we got a lot of bins there.
Our search for food waste began in the bins behind Walmart a year ago.
Hey, David, take a look at this. Packaged cauliflower. Not even past its best before date.
Week after week, in several stores, we found seemingly good produce, baked goods, dairy products, even frozen food that was still frozen.
This will disgust some people, but it's still good.
I can't believe you did that.
A lot were angry about all that waste. You told us and told Walmart. They have begun to change.
Since you guys visit us, we've reduced our overall food waste, so the food that you see in the bins, by 20%.
We can't verify what's in the bins at every store, but 20% would be substantial. Thousands of pounds of food, driven by changes in the newest stores, cold rooms to keep produce fresh longer, expanding the discounting of packaged foods in advance of the best before date. And then there's this, a big one.
Apples, they might come in a bag where some of the bag is not good, and so we'll take the apples that are good, we'll send them in a $1 bag.
As a big company increasingly takes food waste seriously, down the road a class is learning about how much gets tossed.
What'd you think of that?
Bad. Horrible.
Bad.
Disgusting.
These kids surveyed stores, asked managers how things could change.
Hello, Mr. Chair and councillors.
They even pitched the idea of a refrigerated municipal truck picking up food instead of throwing it away.
A grocery store throws out 30 to 45 large bins of perfectly edible food each week, and all these people need help getting food. Why can't that food go on their tables, not in the landfill?
This is, I think, a real demonstration of how everyone can make a difference in this world.
If there were any doubts that the U.S. president has ratcheted up the risk of an international trade war, today the European Union made it pretty clear. It slapped tariffs on a range of American products, 25% on things like Florida orange juice, Kentucky bourbon, Levi's jeans, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, all strategic picks to hit businesses and ridings that vote Republican. It's also payback for new U.S.-imposed tariffs on aluminum and steel imposed last month. But Donald Trump is threatening to escalate the trade dispute further. Today on Twitter, he said, if these tariffs and barriers are not soon broken down and removed, we will be placing a 20% tariff on all of their cars coming into the U.S. Build them here. Now, the impact of the most recent U.S. tariffs is still yet to be seen, but Canada's softwood lumber industry has been dealing with tariffs for more than 6 months, and a couple of trends have emerged. Big Canadian companies are thriving, while smaller ones are hurting. Meanwhile, in the U.S., homeowners are getting squeezed by their own government's policy. Katie Simpson explains.
When business was booming, Mid-Valley Lumber had about 100 employees on the line. But since the U.S. imposed tariffs on Canadian softwood lumber, dozens of workers have been laid off.
The tariffs is a big noose around our neck, and it just keeps tightening day by day.
Al Fortune says his customers looked elsewhere for cheaper alternatives when he had to raise prices because of the tariffs. Last November, the Trump administration put 20% duties on Canadian softwood lumber. The U.S. claims Canadian producers are able to sell their product cheaply in the U.S. because the federal government gives Canadian operations subsidies. Ottawa says there is no unfair advantage and has filed legal complaints to kill the tariffs. While small companies like Mid-Valley struggle, the big players in Canada's lumber industry have adjusted with ease.
It's certainly one of the strongest lumber markets we've seen in the last number of decades, for sure.
Lumber prices are the highest they've been in decades, along with revenues for the major employers. The market is strong because of the hot U.S. housing market. American lumber producers can't keep up with demand, so home builders in the U.S. look to Canada to fill the gaps, driving prices and profits up.
Even with a 20% duty, we've been able to pass that duty along to U.S. consumers.
The duty has been directly added to the cost of buying a home, and experts say it is pricing more than 1 million Americans out of home ownership.
The price of an average American home has increased by $9,000 because of the increase in lumber costs alone. And for every $1,000 increase in the price of a house, 150,000 people are priced out of the market.
The American-based National Association of Home Builders is calling on the U.S. to end the tariffs, or it warns more people will be unable to enter the housing market.
So this is having a serious impact on housing affordability, and it's having a serious impact on the home building sector as an economic force.
Canada and the United States are being urged to get back to the negotiating table to resolve the softwood lumber dispute. But that may be difficult given how much attention other trade and tariff issues are getting right now. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
Still ahead on The National, a Canadian company is changing the game for music festivals. How new tech is redirecting sound. Next. Plus, meet Canada's next hockey superstar. This is Eli, and if you've been online at all today, you've probably seen this video. Meet his parents and hear his story in our moment of the day.
Here it is, the site of the most highly anticipated wedding in Britain in years, St. George's Chapel, where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will tie the knot here on the grounds of Windsor Castle. Let's go in for an up-close look. The chapel attracts visitors almost every day of the year, but news cameras are rarely allowed inside. With its vaulted ceilings and striking stained glass, it's considered a masterpiece of Gothic architecture. Plans to build St. George's Chapel got underway in 1475. It took more than 50 years to complete. By the time it was done, the man in charge was the infamous King Henry VIII. Centuries later, his body remains interred here, next to that of his third wife, Jane Seymour.
So many royal ancestors are buried there. It's got a great
royal tradition. So the Queen's father is there, the Queen's mother is there, and it is very likely that maybe the current royals were buried there as well.
Nowadays, the Queen still attends church services at St. George's Chapel. She was there on Easter Sunday.
Well, here's the famous aisle where Harry and Meghan will walk in and later walk out as newlyweds. It's not as wide and grandiose as Westminster Abbey, where William married Kate, or St. Paul's Cathedral, where Charles married Diana, but many royals have tied the knot right here. In fact, Harry himself was carried in at just 3 months old to be baptized right here.
The chapel's been hosting royal weddings since at least Victorian times. Prince Charles married his second wife, Camilla, in a civil service in 2005, but the couple chose St. George's Chapel to host prayers afterwards. Then, here again, 3 years later, Harry's cousin, Peter Phillips, married a Canadian, Autumn Kelly, in a private ceremony.
When you walk into St. George's Chapel, it seems tiny, and you can't imagine how they're going to have a huge royal wedding there. But you can actually get a lot of people in there. It's actually very efficient in terms of space. But I have to say that this is the biggest royal wedding that St. George's Chapel has ever seen and will ever see.
With the ceremony happening just to my right, those seated here up front will get the best view in this part of the chapel known as the choir. Not only will they be witnessing history, they'll be seated in a little part of history with this intricate oak carving dating back to the late 15th century. It's a lot narrower here, I must say, than it looks on television. Harry himself knows that very well. He was seated right in this spot the day his father Charles married Camilla.
There he is, right next to his brother and soon-to-be best man, William. Directly behind them, their Uncle Andrew, and also singing right along, the Queen and Prince Philip. The pews were all full on that day, and they will be again on May 19th.
600 guests have been invited, meaning some will sit back here in this part of the chapel known as the nave in more modern seating, though in the shadow of that phenomenal stained glass dating back 600 years with the coat of arms of Henry VII.
Harry and Meghan aren't planning a Buckingham Palace balcony smooch like Will and Kate did in 2011, but they will get this kind of memorable moment walking out on the west steps of St. George's Chapel, like Charles and Camilla, like Peter and Autumn.
The newlyweds can expect to be greeted by crowds as they walk out, but should we expect to see a kiss on these steps?
What's up, Toronto? How you feeling?
Right across Canada, outdoor music festivals are a bigger draw than ever.
If you waited all year to come to Vail, let me hear you make some noise.
But all that noise can really tick people off, particularly those who live nearby. So the conflict is clear, but solutions have been scarce until now. As Deanna Sumanak-Johnson tells us, a Canadian company is getting a reputation for high-tech sound control. And tonight, that's our fix.
Booming bass lines, on-stage explosions. For fans of electronic dance music, the louder the better. But for people in surrounding neighborhoods, concert noise is a nuisance.
Just boom, 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 echoing through my bedroom.
So you can just hear the rumbling, basically, even with the doors shut.
This is where Jeremy Bridge comes in. The Calgary engineer invented a technology that promises to keep loud music limited to concert venues.
Kevin, turn it up a little bit more.
Even if that venue is an open field.
What we've done is we've put robotics in loudspeakers so that the loudspeaker can control the direction of sound. So if you see the loudspeaker behind us,
this big sort of bar.
The big sort of bar of speakers is called a line array. And the gray louvers allow us to control sound in the horizontal plane. They allowed us to make it more narrow or steer it left or steer it right.
So the way I picture this is almost like a spotlight with the way the spotlight controls the light.
That's exactly right. It's like you're focusing the sound.
Jeremy Bridge developed his speaker technology with a grant from the National Research Council of Canada. Initially, his speakers became a hit for their ability to deliver clean, clear sound directly towards the audience. He's helped the Broadway hit musical Hamilton achieve that audio oomph, and provided a massive sound system needed for Mexico's Electric Daisy Carnival. Attendance, 100,000 people.
Oh, because
But just as often, he's called upon to make sure music does not bleed into the surrounding neighborhoods. That's what brings him here to Kitchener, Ontario.
We had 100 complaints, so that was the highest we've ever had for any kind of event in the city.
Last year, the Noise from Ever After Music Festival attracted the ire of local residents, putting bylaw officers on high alert and Ever After's reputation on shaky ground.
They brought in technology is specifically designed to be able to focus sound and keep it away from residential areas. So we had done a lot of pre-prediction.
Yep.
The day before the concert, Jeremy meets with the local authorities. They go to the area that most noise complaints last year came from, about 2 kilometers away from the venue.
Tell them to turn it up a little
As
more.
Jeremy Bridge tells his technicians to pump up the sound at the venue, he and the bylaw officers each look at the decibels of sound their handheld meters are detecting. They're allowing for worst-case scenarios, like wind and rain, which can make sound travel in unpredictable patterns.
I'm actually quite excited to see how this works. I've spoken with other municipalities that other promoters have used this technology in their city, and it's been successful, so I'm hoping for the same outcome here.
But the real test of Jeremy's invention happens when those DJs actually hit the stage the next day.
So this is Friday night, traditionally the quiet night of the festival. And yes, it's pretty loud already. And as the weekend goes on, and as the night goes on, it's just going to get louder.
The bylaw officers are already here, making sure the levels they agreed upon with Jeremy are respected. So far, things are looking and sounding good for everyone involved. Still, Jeremy Bridge thinks it's too soon to celebrate.
Yeah, of course I get anxious because we're here to do a good job and we want to make a difference. Like me, I personally want to make a difference because I come from music culture and I want it to continue to thrive, and this is my way of helping to keep it thrive.
But true success is if everyone's happy by the end of the 3-day festival.
How many days has it been now since the fest? 3-4 days, I guess?
Yeah, 4 days. Yep.
And how are we doing?
So we check back in with Gloria McNeil to see how many complaints she received.
I think it was a great success. We went from 130 complaints last year down to 6 this year.
But Jeremy Bridge has no time to celebrate. This weekend, he's in Ottawa, working for the 2nd year on its Escapade Electronic Music Festival, mending fences between music fans and neighbors who just want some peace and quiet, one loud festival at a time. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Kitchener, Ontario.
Still to come on The National, a special school just outside Montreal is in a race against time to teach the next generation the Mohawk language before it disappears.
I really believe in our language, that it's most important, and we cannot lose it. Otherwise, we will no longer be a people. And this little guy, that's his first language, because that's what he knows.
First, though, we want to show you a quick excerpt of a special interview we have coming up for you Sunday night, right here on The National. Tom Power, host of Q on CBC's Radio 1, sat down with Canadian superstar Shawn Mendes. They talk about making music, making it big, and making sense of living a celebrity life with anxiety.
Help me. It's like the walls are caving in.
How are you doing with that right now?
Good. I mean, I think the thing is about anxiety is that it comes in phases and it's different for everybody. And in a moment when I was having it, I wrote a song about it. The only way progression is going to happen is by talking about it and by allowing everybody to talk about it, you know. It just becomes more of a normal thing. And hopefully in 10 years from now, nobody is really worried about it. And hopefully 10 years from now, we have better ways of dealing with it because people talk about it and they don't suppress it.
That interview Sunday night on The National.
The beautiful game's beautiful Beckham just made a beautiful move. A decision to head way west to leave behind his beloved English home and Spanish soccer team and play for Los Angeles. Expecting shock and horror? Not a chance.
That's probably very good for Spain. I think the national IQ average will go up.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Posh wants to go, so he's going.
Beckham decides that he will.
People can be cruel and forgetful. David Beckham has been a much revered soccer star and an adored marketing darling. That face and his glam wife Victoria, once the Spice Girl Posh, make the Beckham package irresistible. And yes, those are the wax images of the Beckhams as Mary and Joseph in a nativity scene. But soccer life hasn't been quite as smooth recently. The experts here, and quite frankly, there are a lot of people in this country who claim to be experts, say that Beckham, the player, was slipping in his skills on the pitch and needed to do something. Beckham's leaving, going to LA. What do you think?
Washed up. That's it. It's all over, I think.
Still, to wear the LA Galaxy jersey, he'll reportedly be paid nearly $300 million over 5 years.
David Beckham will probably actually earn in a region of 50 times more than most of his teammates, if not more. So that kind of gives you a sense of the scale of his deal.
That'll make for some happy times in the locker room.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been interesting. Probably trying to kick him, I imagine, in training after the first few days.
The money, the man himself says, has nothing to do with it.
I don't want to go out to America at 34 years old and people be turning around saying, well, he's only going there to get the money. You know, it's not what I'm going out there to do. I'm going out there to hopefully build, you know, a club and a team that has got a lot of potential.
He will, soccer fans hope, bring new life to the North American game and to the new soccer league, one a Toronto team is a part of. Just maybe a little bit of the Beckham brilliance will rub off. Adrian Arsenault, CBC News, London.
That's one of the best things about being me, really, to have the following of so many kids around the world. You know, when I've seen it in Europe, I've seen it in Asia and different parts of the world, but then to come to the States and to see the reaction that I've had so far from not just obviously the older people and, you know, the press that I've had, but from the younger people as well, and especially, you know, the girls and the boys that are playing soccer at such a young age. So it's an honour for me. I feel honoured. It's definitely about the sport, it's definitely about the soccer. Obviously it's also about me being an ambassador. It's definitely not about going into semi-retirement. There's only people that have been out there that have criticised me, mostly in Europe, for coming to a league that is not as high profile and also is not at a level that, you know, La Liga is or the Premiership is. So no, it's definitely not about semi-retirement. It's about growing a league and being part of something which potentially could be huge, and I want to be part of that.
Who's the wallet?
They're more than just good listeners. These kids are following instructions in their traditional Mohawk language. It's a fundamental part of expressing their culture and identity. But the majority of languages spoken by Indigenous people in Canada are in trouble. Of the 90 or so of them, around 3/4 are considered endangered, meaning children don't learn the language at home. Well, CBC Short Docs has been working with Indigenous filmmakers, giving them a platform to share their stories through their eyes. And here at The National, we're highlighting a few as part of National Indigenous History Month. And tonight, Mohawk filmmaker Roxanne Whitebean's documentary about a special immersion school where the Mohawk language and culture is being revitalized in the hopes it will be passed along to future generations.
How is it at school?
Lolo. My name is Yogani and I'm 7 years old. This is my brother, Nago Garda Daniel.
I'm Wendahawe Dion Elijah. Yaguri Wanira goes to Karihonoru, a Mohawk immersion school. I am a stay-at-home mom with my son. I do help out as much as possible. So later today, I will be substituting in the baby class, singing with them and doing some arts and crafts. Okay.
Karihonoru, as of right now, is the only Mohawk program in Quebec that teaches to the 6th grade.
Every day she's in a hurry to come to school, or even when she's feeling sick, she's like, yeah, Mama, I'm okay. It's all gone now. And she wants to hurry up and get on the bus and see all her friends and everything.
There's a lot of changes coming to Karihonoru. It's scary to think about. The children have no idea that this might be their last year at this school.
I don't know where to start of how much my language or why it's so important for me. Well, number one, it was my grandmother, the late Frances Dion. She is one of the great minds behind this school. She was one that grew up forced not to speak our language anymore. Her struggles at that time to continue is quite inspiring, which means a lot to me, and that's why I'm like gonna get all like emotional. But
Ya tateukia na egine kosastasena togarina yatune kwanikona. There are not as in the ghost. Yeah, Tita.
I was one of the first students that started up Karihonoru Mohawk Immersion School. We were so small. I think there was only like 6 of us in a class, and now we're up to 35 students.
my sister is the person that kind of gets things going, gets the school running.
I have 4 children, and they all attended at Karihonoru. Karihonoru is a home environment program. We do have a playground, sort of. We'd like to have a little bit more. We have a swing set that was donated. We have the outdoors, but it would be nice to have some actual playground equipment someday.
Karihonoru is not adequately funded. I mean, it's always been a struggle, and it's very, very important to me. It's always been, and to my family, especially my mom. She was the one that gave me the impetus to start the school. If Karihonoru would close, it would be devastating, and actually, I think it would break my heart.
It's amazing.
We just had to put a sign on the door, no more room. We have absolutely no more room. We've never had this many people at our bingo.
Your first number is G51.
Auntie Jolie. What you doing?
So how much did we make then for the bingo?
Just over 6,000.
Oh wow! Holy smokes!
Yeah, a lot of people. Unfortunately, we had to turn some down. So imagine how much we could have made.
Oh my God! Oh wow!
In a bigger building.
Yeah.
We still probably have to raise maybe 50,000 before the end of the year.
I really wish we could get some adequate funding from the government. It would be so much easier.
I know, believe me, I wish we could too. It's because the way we put that out, we're not following their criteria, so we haven't been able to fit in right. We don't have English programming, we don't have French programming, we don't have Canadian history. It's completely Ganyageha, so we have to work on that too. Could take another 28 years. I hope not, but...
Well, I don't think I'll be around then.
Go, that's not gay.
So this reconciliation that we talk about means that the government needs to reconcile what they did to destroy and to take away our language. And that was part of our culture. So it's a big loss. We have a whole generation of people like my age who don't speak the language at all. And I think that the government needs to take responsibility and to make sure that we have the means and the teachers and the tools to be able to get our language back. I was one of the original parents, and I really believe in our language, that it's most important, and we cannot lose it. Otherwise, we will no longer be a people. And this little guy, that's his first language, because that's what he knows. Toske go.
Trying to keep Gariwinoro open is very difficult. It's just very difficult.
But in the end, it's worth it. In the end, it's worth it.
You know what he's been saying lately?
What?
We're in the couch and he's like pointing to my pictures and he's saying Dada.
Yeah?
Dada. 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 I guess her fire and her spirit is what keeps us going, keeps me going here, keeps my sister going. We'll always continue and never give up. And that was one of my grandmother's last words, was to speak as much as you can and to never give up, no matter how hard it is. So this place, these children mean a lot to us. So we'll do everything that we can to have it continue and never lose who we are.
The Canadian government has promised to protect Indigenous languages and is working with Inuit, Métis, and First Nations to develop new legislation to accomplish that. It's expected to be introduced later this year. And if you want to check out more short docs by Indigenous filmmakers, head on over to cbc.ca/short docs. And still ahead on tonight's National. Tonight's moment of the day, the story behind the video we're sure someone sent you today. Meet the toddler warming hockey fan hearts around the world. And remember, you can always get more of The National in your inbox. The National Today takes you inside our journalism every afternoon. We also take a closer look at stories you may have missed. Today, unpacking a major new debt relief deal to end almost a decade of bailouts in Greece. You can subscribe to our newsletter at cbcnews.ca/The National.
In this era of rapid transportation, the television cameraman is by no means earthbound. Aerial film can often give a completely new perspective to a particular story.
We'll be flying up over the river towards Sorel, in that area. We should be gone about a half an hour. I've got to film back in a hurry, so I'll have to play it pretty fast.
Okay, well, that's fine. And South Clare with Montreal, ETC, and good for sec to destination.
Good. Well, we'll get underway.
The rapid growth of Montreal is one example. With the skyline changing almost daily as new buildings appear, it is necessary to maintain a completely up-to-date stock of aerial footage of familiar scenes.
The site of a most unusual city was picked way back when the New World first began. You can't imagine just how many wonderful things were put together, but I've been there and I can. They chose the shores of the mighty St. Lawrence so they'd have a river running by. In the background they added a mountain to paint a picture against.
And where does all the film go? A lot of it is fed each day through a closed-circuit hookup to the network headquarters in Toronto.
Yeah, we're all ready to go. We'll send you a little bit of tone. That's at -8. Is that all right with you? Okay.
In this way, viewers across the country get an opportunity to see events that are happening in Montreal. To fly this film from city to city would waste many hours. But through this closed-circuit hookup, items can be exchanged in minutes with points across the country, and in many cases with the CBS and NBC networks in the United States.
Expo has welcomed visitors from many far-flung places in the world, most recently from the state of Hawaii.
Add to this a syndication film service,
Tonight on The National, terrible story to tell you about from Montreal. Police there say a 6-month-old baby has been found dead in a vehicle. An investigation is now underway, but police say it appears the father forgot to drop the baby off at daycare before going to work, and he only realized what happened this evening when he finished work. In Edmonton today, a man was convicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of 2 clerks at Mac's convenience stores. Leyland DeLorme was one of 3 people arrested after the 2 clerks were killed during separate armed robberies in 2015. The judge will decide whether he will spend 25 or 50 years behind bars without a chance of parole. Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Roberto Osuna has been suspended by Major League Baseball after being charged with assault. The league says the unpaid suspension covers 75 games, but it's retroactive to May 8th, when he was arrested for allegedly assaulting a woman. Osuna's lawyer has said he plans to plead not guilty to the charge. His case is set to return to court July 9th. And quite the mess made in the Toronto area today after a truck spilled yogurt all over a major highway. Police say the truck collided with a signpost, causing the entire side of its trailer to be ripped off, and then out came the yogurt. The 25-year-old driver of the truck has been charged with careless driving. So here's the idea, the kind of idea you come up with after one too many drinks. Apparently, this poor guy's girlfriend wouldn't let him go to the World Cup. So his friends, well, they found a way to bring him anyway.
It's our duty as friends to make him pay for his mistakes, so that's why we brought him.
It seems like he's missing out on a good time. This group flew all the way from Mexico to Europe, picked up an old school bus, spent a month converting it into something a little more festive, then drove it to Russia. They're the lucky ones, right? But not every soccer fan can fly halfway around the world to be part of the action. So a dedicated few are trying to prove you can still make a showing even if you're not there. The CBC's Aaron Collins found out how, starting from the top down.
Now, you can find World Cup fever pretty much anywhere these days, dominating conversation from the water cooler to the barber's chair. But not all the talk is about the game.
Did you see Neymar's hair?
Yeah.
We talked about it. You don't like?
I don't like.
Bro, I like it. It's fresh.
Looks like noodles.
Every 4 years, football and fashion collide on the sport's biggest stage.
What are you going for here? The Ramos.
The Ramos.
Yeah, Sergio Ramos. Always got like freshest cut.
Inspiration for a fresh look ripped from the pitch.
So, pretty high, tight skin fade. A bit of a line going through the fade, but still blended through.
But scoring with the new football-inspired do can be daunting.
So what do you think? What would be the best World Cup cut for me?
Honestly, I think go super short.
Super short? So shave it all off?
For the sides.
Well, that kind of cut likely too close for many's comfort. But even the most conservative football fan can find their muse.
Ronaldo's the most classic of all of them. And then you got Messi, who's a little bit more flashy, likes it a little bit more messy.
And not surprisingly, the World Cup's leader in goals is also inspiring the most haircuts.
15 minutes ago, I had a guy in his mid-30s asking for a zero fade comb over like Cristiano Ronaldo.
You nailed it?
Always nailing it.
And even the most follically challenged fan can find a fashionable footballer to fancy.
You know Lucas? Plays for Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Lucas.
He's got a little receding.
Receding, yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll try it, man. I'm getting it right now.
The buzz of the 2018 World Cup will last another few weeks, but the fashion choices the tournament sparks will likely last much longer. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Now, even soccer idols themselves are not immune to trolling on social media. And when Brazil's star striker Neymar was roasted for his hairdo, he opted for a new look. His old shag was described as pot noodles or spaghetti head. So for today's match against Costa Rica, he was sporting something a little more tidy. Who knows? Maybe that change helped propel Brazil to a 2-0 win with Neymar scoring the second goal. Okay, one more sports story for you. Eli Graveline loves hockey, and at 3 years old, perhaps he's still too young to play for a team in his hometown of Sudbury. But that hasn't stopped the internet from predicting he might one day be drafted by the NHL. And it all began with this video. His mom posted it on Eli's Instagram as a throwback Thursday. So it actually happened last year when his dad was on vacation. But now Eli's moves have sent the video viral, and we caught up with him and his parents to ask what they thought of the post's popularity. That is our moment of the day.
I mean, I think the video is gone viral because it's every kid's dream, you know. He's been playing since he's 1.5 years, just around the house and whatnot, but he hasn't started playing hockey on the league yet. What do you want to play when you play hockey?
I want to be a goalie.
He wants to be a goalie. How do you do a trapper save? Whoa!
Well, you're quick.
What about a blocker save?
It just started basically with little, basically like the video, like mini stick and a piece of a foam puck or either a roll of tape. And once we're able to get skates for him that would fit, then it just evolved from there.
I'd say his favorite part is just being out on the ice with other kids. This winter we would go to the outdoor rink literally every day, and if we would get there before other kids would at like 9 a.m. Sometimes there wasn't always kids there. He would ask to go to a different rink.
So the kicker to all of this is that his parents, they don't even really consider themselves hockey fans. In fact, they weren't even planning on signing him up for any kind of organized sport until, you know, half the world's population suggested maybe the NHL is something they should consider. And as for Eli's favorite team, they don't even think he really has a favorite NHL team, but they say the Mighty Ducks movie he's seen, quote, thousands of times. That's The National for this Friday, June 22nd. Have a great night.